central to this presidential campaign, to the national conference.
For me, it really took listening to those families who had lost someone in El Paso, who had survived that mass shooting, to think that problem all the way through and realize that if it was bad to sell them, then to leave 10 million of them out there on the streets, every single one of them a potential instrument of terror, that was wrong too, and we must buy them back. So that's, you asked about my path to come to this conclusion.
Since you made those comments in the debate about taking back 4,700 AR-15s, that more...
I used to be almost proud of the fact that I could have this conversation with people who had AR-15s at our town halls in Texas when I was running for Senate, and just kind of, said, well, that's Texas, and they're responsible gun owners, and there's nothing to fear. I now know there's a lot to fear, and those weapons are brought out to make us afraid.
About our ability to address gun violence is because of the leadership that was in that room today that is making it possible.
What Pete has been saying is that a mandatory buyback is the shiny object that is distracting us. How in the world can you say that to March for Our Lives? How can you say that to survivors of mass shootings across this country? How can you say that to the majority of Hispanics in America, certainly in Texas, who fear that they will be the victims of a mass shooting inspired by racism and hatred that's been welcomed into the open by this president and has been armed with weapons of war? So I was really offended by those comments. And I think he represents a kind of politics that is focused on poll testing and focus group driving and triangulating and listening to consultants before you arrive at a position. I think our politics has to be about doing the right thing, saying the right thing, seeing it clearly, speaking honestly, and then acting decisively. And so I think it was really important, since he had said that earlier in the day on this stage, that that we make it very clear what this country has to do if we're going to meet this challenge.
Conversation and to any real hope we have of actually achieving